Hardware proposal for Johnson Elementary, Rochelle, Illinois. ETT 573 Facilities, Steve Bell. Johnson Elementary has been given an opportunity to provide its students and staff a chance to usher in a new era of learning in the 21st century. Giving students the best technology to meet learning objectives in the 21st century is not an easy task. Offering to provide funding for this endeavor has allowed us to make some suggestions for powerful tools that will enhance student learning. We believe to provide students with the best opportunities to learn, they should each receive their own mobile device. In our plan, they will receive the Nexus Tablet 10.1. These tablets provide users with ample educational apps. They are equipped with cameras for multimedia use students will need for class. Screen size is ample for any students, even those with special vision needs, at 10 inches. Having their own mobile device will allow students to access learning opportunities anytime and everywhere. In order to provide students with the best training and learning modeling for this device, they will be allowed to use. Every teacher will also need to have a Nexus 10.1 tablet of their own. Teachers will be able to provide proper instruction so all students understand how to access information correctly. Every classroom will be outfitted with a smartboard interactive whiteboard system to provide teachers and students opportunities to share their learning and instruction with everyone. The boards will also be equipped with a short throw arm where a smart projector will be mounted. Each smartboard will come with an audio system in order to hear any applications or internet sites that may require sound. We would ask that every classroom get outfitted with a document camera. Document cameras are handy when you need to provide visuals for the whole class for something that might be in print, such as books, letters, paper copies, etc. In each classroom, we would also like to place a VoIP phone, a voice over internet phone. Phones provide staff safety in emergency situations. They also allow staff to communicate with parents and other stakeholders. Another device for safety the school should invest in is security cameras. Security cameras will allow administrative personnel as well as police the chance to monitor the building inside and out to limit vandalism, intruders, and theft. We chose IP security cameras because they can send information over the network instantly versus the closed circuit TV security camera, which can't do that. Also, the high megapixel camera lens will allow for better picture quality. The last pieces of hardware that we propose the school purchase are new network computers. We're only asking for 4, and we would hope that they're the HP laser color wireless printers. Students and staff will not need print copies of many things once everybody is digital and has their own device. All classrooms will be equipped with wireless capabilities so students can truly take learning into their own hands.
This is the proposal for Johnson Elementary School Computer Wing. When we started this project, Jeff, Steve, and I considered renovating the current computer lab to bring it up to date, make it more functional. We also thought about bringing it into the Learning Center to make it larger. We also thought about getting rid of it altogether since we are giving all the classrooms new technology and all the students devices. The only concern with that is the change in state testing coming up where it will be computerized. We weren't sure if those handheld devices would be able to support the online testing. So we decided to add an addition onto the building with new hardwired computer labs. So you'd have 4 labs, server room, 2 bathrooms, and a boiler room. Looking at the lab from the outside, this is a wall of windows. We thought the windows would be a great feature to allow natural light come into the room, make it feel open, make it feel airy, make it a great place for the students to work. This is kind of what the outside of the lab would look like with the wall of windows. And then inside you'd notice the natural light coming in, notice the wood floors. That is another recommendation of ours. We know with all the windows we would need some shading. We wanted to put some shades in there that wouldn't block out the view and make the room feel closed off, so these shades do a great job of that. Sunlight stays out, but you can still have the view outside. This would be the side view of the building. This would be the lab area here. This would be the hallway. Notice more windows with that south sun would be flooding into those hallways there. And then this part of the building would be the boiler room, the 2 bathrooms, and the server room. This is a view looking in from the windows into one of the labs. We do want to go with a tiered setup where we have 4 tiers with a stairway in the middle. Each tier would have 8 computers, 4 on one side, 4 on the other. So we'd have 32 computers in the lab for the students to use. And then also notice the windows at the top here. This would allow that natural light that's flooding into that room to flood into the hallway behind that wall. This is just some ideas of what the tiered seating would look like. This is what the workstations could look like with the computers on it. And then this would be more realistic of what it would look like with the stairway in the middle and then the workstations on each side. And these are the desk chairs that we suggest using in those labs. Here's our estimates for the building using just local projects that are going on right now. We figure $223 a square foot. That puts us roughly at $3,009,000 for the shell of the building. Electrical estimates, we're looking at $58,270. That does not include wiring for internet or for the computers. The HVAC estimate, we do want a furnace unit and AC's units for each lab. So our HVAC total is $354,500. And then here's some odds and ends with the bathrooms, the engineered wood floor, tiered seating, motorized retractable shades, giving us a total estimate for the new addition at $3,935,355. And that does not include the hardware, the computer hardware, or the wiring for the computer. The new addition promises to be a great teaching tool for the staff and a wonderful learning environment for the students. We hope we can proceed forward with this project. On a side note, we would like to retrofit every classroom with new desks. We feel with the students having mobile devices, they should be able to move around the classroom a lot more and collaborate a lot more quickly and efficiently. So we thought giving the students mobile desks would be better. With the wheels on it, these desks can move quickly and efficiently around the classroom. They are small, so they don't take up a lot of space, but they still offer the students enough storage space. And the desks will cost roughly $215,280 to retrofit the entire existing building.
Oh, for the network configuration of Johnson Elementary, this is the way we had planned on setting it up. The overall configuration will be a star-based network where everything runs off of managed switches. If you look, our internet connection up here in the top left corner comes in our school. In our server room, we plan on having several file storage or media servers. We need a mail server. We would have a web server, user authentication server using Windows Server 2012. We would need a print server to control our printers from anywhere in the building. We plan on having a voice over internet protocol phone system, so we would need the control module for that and also the hookup with the phone company. And then we also have a digital security camera server that would hold all of our video storage for the security camera footage. All of the stuff, all the servers on the left side, we would only need one in the building. All this stuff over here on the left. Now, as you go to the right, this stuff all of these get repeatable. So as we come out from our main control room, this line right here could be multiplied, and in our project it was multiplied 11 times. This just gives us the overall frame. The main control switch would send us out to 48 port power over Ethernet switches, which allows us to do a lot of unique things. The first one is a lot of devices are following the power PoE standard, which allows them to send their data through the Ethernet cable as well as receive the power. So you don't need separate power supplies, which is nice in terms of installation. So we have several security cameras positioned around the building that would directly hook up into these 48-port PoE switches. In addition, you could hook your printers into these. It's not mandatory. It could also be done at a classroom level, but that's just an idea of how that will work. From our main switches, we then go into each classroom having their own 8-port, again, PoE or power over Ethernet switch. The idea here is that it allows each classroom to be expandable, and we limit the distance of our wire drops. So we don't have to necessarily run a cable from the farthest point of a classroom all the way through to the 48 port switch. And we can also limit the cost, or limit the amount of these, and therefore the costs. So as we get in our classroom now, in terms of power over Ethernet, our Wi-Fi routers are also PoE compatible, so we don't need separate power supplies for them. Our phone system is PoE, and those are the two main uses in the classroom. In addition to having your voice over internet phone, your Wi-Fi router, there will be a teacher station, a smartboard and projector that I believe we should have wired for an Ethernet connection, whether or not it's required, and then an additional 2 more drops for possible expansion or future plans in that classroom. As I mentioned in the last slide, everything emanates from our server room, and then we have switches, which are the 48 port large power over Ethernet switches that are throughout the building. We put 1 per lab to allow for many devices, as many as we need, and then they're also located throughout the building. Now, it's probably more than we would need, but with the possibility of having more security cameras or additional power over Ethernet devices, we want to make sure that we had plenty of room for future expansion. If you look here, and then in a second I'll pull up the other slide, the security cameras, along with all these classrooms in here, would feed into this switch. All of these classrooms would feed into this switch, these in here, and so on, so that each area of the building has its own main switch that controls the internet traffic. Here we see the location of the security cameras, and again, these would feed into the local switches that I pointed out on the last slide, where all these cameras would feed into this switch, all of these into here, and so on. For the software and servers in Johnson Elementary, Brad, Steve, and I had talked about several options, and this is what we had come to agreement on. First off, all our user management would be dealt with Windows Server 2012. We would like to use the database version, which does, it's the more expensive one, but it allows, if the users want, an additional cloud component where you could create virtual PCs. This would be good for students to either use the software at home that's already at school, or for distance computing other purposes. All computers would have Microsoft Office Suite, Outlook, Word, Publisher, PowerPoint, Excel, all those basics. It's still the best productivity software out there. You're not going to do better than it. We did look at Google Apps, and we are going to, it'll be in a future slide. In terms of data storage, we thought of a couple things. The first option we thought was Dropbox for everybody. And if you don't know what Dropbox is, it's a cloud storage solution, in which case everything is backed up both locally and in the cloud. That's accessible via the website. Their website, you can look at previous revisions, you can look at deleted files. But when we looked at it, it's $100 per user for the business edition. And what we figured is this wouldn't be cost effective when we're talking about elementary students. Since there's a set number of elementary students and they roll through every year in terms of your 6th graders moving on, we thought it wouldn't make sense to have different client memberships for each kid and have to recreate them every year. So we did talk about having a file server that would really only be used for the student data storage for their own personal files. We really looked at Dropbox for your teachers, and the great benefit of Dropbox is that teachers can work on documents at home, at school, anywhere where they have access to a computer or a device, and as soon as they are done with it, they'll upload it to every other person. This eliminates the need for people to either use a VPN client to log into the school network to change items, or download versions to their desktop and work at home, and then copy it back to school when they get back, which just creates for messy versioning issues. The other nice thing about Dropbox for Business is the school does have control over those data files. So in the unfortunate event that a teacher needs to be released, they can unlink that teacher from their school account so that they no longer have access to the files. Along with creating an unlimited revision history, so you can see who changed what, No files would ever be lost because when they're deleted, there's still a record kept of it. There's a lot of beneficial aspects of Dropbox. We did say that we should have all the students be using or should be using Google Apps for education. This would include student email addresses. They would have access to all the Google productivity apps, which are cloud-based. So you get your word processing, your Excel or spreadsheet type app, your Google Forms. These are all opportunities for them to collaborate. Google Docs especially allows multiple users to change a document at once, which can be very useful for students in their collaboration, especially when they all have tablets, and we know that Google Apps will work on the Google tablets. For our security software, we looked at this eyeline security surveillance software, and what it allows you to do is record up to 100 different video streams onto a central server, have web access to them from anywhere in your building, and it was a nice solution for a fairly low cost of only $250. We did look at Symantec endpoint protection, which would be the antivirus software on all the PCs. This is a software that runs in the background. Your users don't have to have much input on it. They don't have to worry about updates. It all takes care of it from the server side. And just in case we forgot stuff, and we know we did, or especially for like yearly projects that teachers might want to do, we said we'd create the Johnson Elementary Technology Endowment, which would have at least $200,000 annual contribution from the community that can be used or saved for future purchases. It doesn't have to be spent in a certain year or any of the stipulations on a lot of the money is for education. And you can use that for additional software or additional hardware that wants to be purchased for the school. And it's just kind of a way that we made sure we had everything covered. That pretty much takes care of it for our software, our servers. Our servers would all have RAID 5 configuration, and we looked at having at least 50 to 80 terabytes, which would allow us to record hundreds of thousands of hours of video, along with having plenty of file storage for the students, as they probably won't be using that much of the file storage. Thank you very much.